And the sun's still shining down here at the BBC Gardens World Spring Fair at Beaulieu, and we have been joined by Chris. Chris, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, how are you?
Very well, thank you very much. Thank you for spending the time to talk to us.
My pleasure.
A food guru, a trained chef, a grow your own veg and know what you're doing all-rounder.
Well, I think you flatter me. Keep expectations low. So not a chef, funnily enough, actually, but I have worked in produce my whole life. I started off in flowers and plants, which is the horticultural aspect, and then I moved into fruit and vegetables, so the fresh produce. And then I got into, I've always enjoyed cooking, but since I've been involved in the fresh produce industry, I've cooked more. So yeah, not a trained chef, not trained in anything, actually, not trained in horticulture, but I'm involved in both of those industries and very passionate about both of those industries.
And very knowledgeable. I mean, I've seen you. I've seen you on Eat Well for Less, and the stuff you come out was incredible to cut that money down.
Yeah, well, I'd love to take all the credit, but it's obviously a team. There's a very intelligent team behind it, but it is amazing, and I think it's probably more relevant now than it's ever been. The cost of living is hitting us all. The cost of food and food inflation are very real, and whereas some elements of inflation have started to come down, we're seeing no signs of food prices decreasing. So we've got to really do what we can to try and reduce our shopping bill, because it doesn't matter who you are at the moment. You're struggling, and your food prices are going up. So they estimate by the end of this year food prices will be 30% higher than they were at the end of sort of 2016, 2017. So 30%, it's a third, it's a lot, big increase. So we've got to do what we can to try and reduce that.
And there's a lot of brands that people cut down on and you switch out, and they don't notice the difference.
Absolutely. So swapping big brands out, those big expensive brands out for, the supermarket owned labels is a way of saving, a significant amount. But that's not enough. I don't think you need to do other things, and food waste is also an element of cutting your food bill down. It's estimated that on average we waste around £60 a month per household. The average household of 4 is £60 a month. That's a lot of money. That's £720 a year. So there's a significant saving there, and also with what we're doing here, grow a bit of your own, which I think is a really great way of saving some money, especially if you grow it from seed. It takes longer, but it can save you money, and there's nothing better than growing your own. And I've got 3 kids. They really love it, they really enjoy it. So I would strongly recommend, doing a bit of that.
And it tastes different, doesn't it? Even if it doesn't actually taste different, it tastes different, definitely. But it's definitely fresher, isn't it?
The appreciation is greater,
yes,
because
absolutely.
It's taken a lot more effort. So I think, and that goes to the food waste element as well. Once you've grown something from seed or from a plug plant or from a small plant, you realise how much. Lovely round of applause there for Adam Frost. He's bringing the house down. It's like having a rolling stone here, isn't it? It's amazing. Rock and roll meets horticulture. Lovely man. But no. So once you appreciate how long it takes to grow something, you're going to be less likely to throw something away. You're really going to think twice, and that's what we do. But then probably the best way, the cheapest way. To grow your own is if you've bought a pepper or a chili or something from a shop that has seeds in it, save those seeds that you throw away and you just plant them. Pop them on the windowsill. And this is the thing. I think it doesn't need to be expensive. You don't need to have a great deal of knowledge. There are some elements of gardening that are incredibly involved, but growing things, a little bit of trial and error. But if you haven't paid for the seeds anyway, who cares? So on a windowsill, on a small little patch of your garden, you don't need to have a big garden. You don't even need to have a garden at all, and you can grow a few bits, at home.
Yeah. And so you're doing some workshops as well.
So I'm just hosting the Victorian Kitchen. So we've had Luke Holder, who's amazing. We've had Kelvin, we've had Sam, we've had Alex, who are 3 guys from the Pig, which is an amazing ethos. The Pig has a 25-mile menu, so everything is local, everything is seasonal. Luke Holder from Limewood is an amazing chef, and they, they're real advocates for supporting, your real artisan, local, amazing producers. So they've both got really lovely stories behind them, and they make some amazing food. So I'm just hosting their demos. I'm doing a couple of demos tomorrow, and just walking around and enjoying it. It's fabulous.
Yeah, it's a lovely sunny day as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, got the best weather so far.
We have.
Sure. Touch wood, not that I want to jinx it. For me, going back to sort of planting, producing your own sort of veg and things. So when it comes to the seeds, can you just put them in? It doesn't matter what soil. For anyone, it doesn't matter what. You can just throw it anywhere on the soil and it'll...
Yeah, I mean, so from seeds you want to do it in a pot. In an ideal world, you can get sort of, potting compost, peat-free compost, but any peat-free compost would be ideal. But failing that, you could just go and get some soil from the garden and put it in a pot. But obviously when they're young, they're going to need a bit more nurturing, so they want to be warm and they don't want to be, exposed to the elements as much. So on a windowsill, you're replicating a greenhouse.
Yeah.
So, especially now as we're coming into the summer, so they're going to get loads of light, loads of warmth. Just make sure you regularly water them. But there's so many amazing things you can grow. We've got the Cayley brothers here that do the mushroom kits. You can grow amazing exotic wild mushrooms. I think if you want to start by growing something, I think try something like peppers that you've already bought. Take the seeds out and just sow them in some peat-free compost. Put them on the windowsill and see how you go. And then you'll have to just sort of repot them as they get bigger. But give that a go because that's free. That's for nothing. But for me, if you can only grow one thing, do fresh cut herbs. Fresh cut herbs elevate every dish. If you buy fresh herbs, they're the best part of a pound, if not more, from the supermarket. They come in a plastic bag, and you only need a little pinch. So, a little array of fresh herbs, again, could only just on the windowsill or on a pot, on the patio or wherever, is great because you go out, you need a little bit of coriander, a little bit of thyme, a little bit of mint, rosemary, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Just go and snip exactly what you want. So you're reducing food waste, you're reducing your shopping bill, you're reducing plastic, and it's better. There's nothing better than just going out into the garden with some secateurs or some scissors and getting a few herbs and then elevating the dish that you're going to make as well.
Absolutely, and like you said, I mean, where I'm from, they did actually come round, and you've got obviously normal bins, but they gave us a bin to put all of our food in, and when we were given that, we realised just how much we were wasting, because all of it was getting piled into your normal rubbish and things as well, and it just made you realise how much, and that in itself, we were like, we've got to pull this back and do something. So, obviously, with all this, do you have your own fruits and veg that you grow, and if so, what's your ones that you go to?
So I do grow a bit, but if I'm brutally honest, I work in fruits and veg. So I know I'm very lucky that I know some of the best growers of everything. I know strawberry growers. There's one just round the corner from here that would grow an infinitely better strawberry than I. So I'm very lucky that I have access to lots of amazing fresh produce. But I do grow, and I grow primarily for the children's enjoyment, actually. So we're all about the strawberries and the raspberries and the gooseberries, and we'll grow some potatoes and some carrots, some basic stuff, but stuff we eat as well. And I think that's an important part of growing. If you don't eat aubergines or squash, don't plant it.
No.
Don't plant it. If you don't really, really love courgettes, maybe don't plant them. So my advice would be grow the things that you love to eat and the things that are slightly more expensive to buy. Potatoes are very inexpensive. So they certainly were. They're slightly more now, but you grow the slightly more expensive things, but the things that you incorporate into your diet regularly, because as we know, when you grow something, you're going to get a lot of it. Hopefully, if we get some more of this weather, so you'll have a glut of it. So there is no point of having a glut of courgettes if you absolutely don't enjoy and have lots of recipes for courgettes. But courgettes are wonderfully versatile, so there are lots of recipes for them. But I think just enjoy it. But I do it mainly for the kids. But it's magic for the kids, and I think we need to incorporate more growing into the syllabus at school, because it's science, it's maths, it's getting in contact with nature, and I think we've removed ourselves so much from food and where it comes from.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. I feel I would have loved. We done a bit of that when I was at school, but I'd have absolutely loved more of it, just being out in the nature and the real world and seeing it all.
And your point on the food waste bins, compost. Get into composting. We've forgotten so many amazing things that were sort of second nature or being done more regularly. And I think we need to bring some of those old traditional things back, or embrace them a bit more. So all that food waste can go into your compost, and then it saves you money in the long. That's the thing about gardening. If done well, with a little bit of research, which is come to a place like this, ask the experts the questions, go online, magazines, whatever it might be. The information is there, and gardeners are so generous with sharing knowledge as well. So, you know, if anyone's listening to this and they want to get started but they don't know how to, come to something like this and just ask the questions. And there is no stupid question. There is no such thing as a stupid question, because you know what you know. So don't feel intimidated that you should know something. You only know what you know. But get started. Everyone will really, help you and encourage you and give you as much advice as they can. So yeah, come to something like this, or have a look online. Go and see the rock star himself, Adam Frost. He might be too busy, the queue might be too long, but there's ways of getting involved, and I would strongly recommend they do it.
No, that's fantastic. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Have you got any more?
Well, I was only going to say, I guess as well, it's people managing their own expectations of growing. So, if they're first into it, don't dig your whole garden up and plant stuff. Start small and start with something successful. Because otherwise you're a little bit disheartened, aren't you?
So, there are sort of certain, especially if you're talking fruit and veg, there are certain varieties that are probably more forgiving, more tolerant, a little bit sort of hardier. So start with something a bit simpler. But it's the same with cooking. I think cooking and growing can be very similar in a sense that, if you start to learn a new instrument, or you want to go and ride a bike, or you want to learn a different language, you don't expect to be great first of all. You will expect there to be some ups and downs and some struggles and trials and tribulations. But for some reason with cooking and growing, we try it once, doesn't work, we get disheartened and then give up. So don't do that. There is a bit of trial and error. There are lots of variables, the weather, the pH level in your soil, the amount of rainfall, whatever, there's a million different things, the insects, all of these things that are beyond your control. So if you have had a go and it hasn't worked, don't be disheartened, have another go, but try, go in with something that's inexpensive and fairly foolhardy and a bit more forgiving, and I would say the same with cooking. If you want to try recipes, start with something simple, don't try lobster thermidor for your first attempt, practice some basics of basic tomato sauce and then work your way up, because then if it does go wrong, you haven't wasted a lot of money.
Well, thank you very much, and there's no doubt you've been an inspiration to a lot of people listening now to get on and do things like this. Just want to ask you, what's next? Have you got anything in the pipeline coming up?
So next for me, lots of these food festivals and flower shows up and down the country. So I sort of basically joined the circus for the summer. So I'll be travelling the length and breadth of the country. We've got Chelsea coming up in a few weeks, so that'll be round before we know it. And then in terms of TV, there's a few things sort of at the moment that I can't really say, but hopefully watch this space. There'll be more coming up.
Good, fantastic. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. It's a really pleasure speaking to you.
No, likewise.
Thank you very much, and brilliant all the things you're doing. So, I love watching your programmes, so thank you.
Oh, it's very kind.
Thank you for all the advice and everything that you give.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.